All right, we'll jump right in with Patrick Saunders to lead us off. Patrick, go ahead.
From your perspective, what was the most impressive thing about Jon's performance today?
I thought the mix of pitches, Patrick, were key for Jon. 4-pitch mix again, like we saw last start. I thought the slider and the changeup were particularly good. Sort of reeled in the fastball in the middle part of the game. I thought he was missing with the fastball a little bit early in the game to his arm side, but all in all, I thought it was a well-pitched game. I mean, he followed up what he did last week, which was great. So that was good to see back-to-back good starts by Jon.
One of his goals this season, buddy, was to just go out and start having some fun. He said that he really wanted to do that this year. Have you seen a little bit of that in spring training and then in the early part of this season?
Well, he seems to be a little bit looser, but yet focused at the same time, which is a great trait. I thought spring training he worked hard, but yet there was some smiles coming from Jon as we went through camp. I think physically he felt great. So I think that's a big part of how any player feels. When you feel good physically and you're competing and your body feels great and a pitcher's arm feels great, I think you're going to see a personality that is one of focused, but yet enjoying what he's doing. And I think that's where Jon is right now.
Jon, what does it say about his growth as a pitcher that he came into the majors primarily as a hard-throwing fastball slider guy? He's been through a bunch of stuff, and yet here he is today keeping a team off balance with a lot of off-speed stuff. What does that tell you about Jon Gray?
Well, again, I think, as you get into your career and where you are with Jon now with 5 years of service time, there has to be an evolution as a player. I mean, whether it's a position player or a pitcher. Jon came in, like you said, with a big fastball and a hard slider, and he had success. But yet the league will make adjustments to you. And then you have to continue to make those adjustments back, and you have to grow and improve as a pitcher. And Jon's done that. And I think more so, Patrick, in the last, from last year to this year, we placed an emphasis on the changeup. And here it was today, getting numerous outs, getting him back into counts, getting foul balls. Really making his other weapons better because of the changeup. He's worked a lot on his delivery. I think we're past that stage now where it's a pretty consistent delivery. We had to do a couple things today, to get the fastball, off his arm side. He kept running the ball up and away to lefties. But again, this is the evolution and the path that pitchers have to make to get better. And hopefully Jon can keep this momentum because now I think it's truly a 4-pitch pitcher with good stuff across the board.
Yeah. Thomas Harding, go ahead.
Yes, but he wanted to kind of explore the fastball a little bit more. I remember last season, Jon had issues when he couldn't run up his highest velocity. Today, obviously, the velocity wasn't getting in the zone. How did you guys convince him that you don't have to throw 96 to have an effective fastball? And the process.
I mentioned that to Jon after the game that I thought he pitched and he didn't throw. And that's where guys with his service time and guys who've been around, understand that concept of pitching, changing speeds, keeping the ball down, working in the off-speed pitches. And eventually those type of things will make the fastball better when you need it. He got some outs with his fastball for sure. He didn't have great command of it. It might have been down a tick velocity-wise, but, that's going to happen. If you go out there 30 to 33 times, you're not going to have your best fastball all the time as a starting pitcher. So Jon's confidence now in his secondary pitches are growing. I thought Dom did a great job of handling Jon today with pitch selection and game calling. It was wonderful. for Dom. And, we've talked about that before, our confidence in Dom. They followed a pretty good game plan from our pre-game meeting. So I'm really proud of those two guys, how they worked together.
Your first year here, you guys threw more fastballs than almost any other team, maybe even than any other team. This series, you guys threw more breaking pitches than fastballs. You threw more off speed than fastballs. Was that a specific Diamondback strategy, or is it just the growth of the pitchers where you're at the point now where if it works that way, they can execute?
Well, I think that again, in the early part of my tenure here, we had some guys who were young, who maybe weren't totally finished off as big league pitchers, from their minor league days, and they had big fastballs. Sensatella and Marquez and Kyle, and Tyler Anderson, Chad Bettis, Chatwood. Those guys threw fastballs too. Maybe not so much Tyler, but again, we got to go back to the growth of the player and understanding what he has to do to, continue to get better. I think our pitching coaches over the years have done a great job with these guys. And I think to your point, we're seeing more changeups out of the bullpen. Yensei Almonte has developed for me, a very functional changeup. Carlos Estevez, functional changeup. Michael Gibbons, you're going to see some changeups from him as well. So Tyler Kinley, you're going to see more changeups from him. So our guys, I tip my cap to these guys for putting in the work in the off season, because they got into their throwing programs and got off the mound in January and got to spring training and really made a commitment to make, the changeup a big part of their weaponry. So, good for these guys, because hitters nowadays, they'll get on the fastball. You gotta change speeds and keep hitters off balance. You gotta disrupt their timing.
Hey, just last one from me. Carlos Estevez, last time out, I thought he looked like he was deceptive, hitting spots. Today, what do you think happened with him?
I have to go back and look at the video. The first hitter, Peralta, hit the ball in the nose to Trev. Then he looked like he got a changeup up to Smith, the ball that went into right center. And I think Escobar, probably that ball looked to be down the middle. The type of swing he put on it about thigh high. I think he just missed his spots today, Tom. I think, I saw velocity with the fastball. I didn't see great location with a lot of his pitches. I thought he threw a couple decent breaking balls to the pinch hitter, the righty, ended up walking him. But overall, there was this inconsistency in the strike zone.
Thank you, buddy.
Tracy Ringolsby.
Hey, buddy, on the slider, it seems like your guys are throwing more sliders. Is it a matter of just having to take a while to convince them that pitch can help them, or am I just imagining things?
Well, Trace, I think that, again, you can't develop a pitch overnight. And, this has been a work in progress for, especially Sensatella. And a little bit with Carlos, who's had the big fastball. And he's shown a good slider in the past when he's, gained momentum through his appearances. But, again, I think a lot has been done with, our pitchers and our pitching coaches with regard to some of the modern technology that we can capture in slow motion, how the ball comes off the pitcher's fingers, some of the measurements that we get on spin efficiency, spin rate, revolutions, all the things that are available now to pitchers, both amateur pitchers and big league pitchers. We're taking advantage of, like all teams are. So, and our guys are taking that information as good students and applying it. So you saw this with Kyle going into last season. You've seen it with Sensatella. You've seen it with a little bit of some of the things we're trying to do with Carlos. So across the board, I mean, Daniel Bard is a great student of technology and some of the things that we can get through data. So it's out there, we're using it, and I think over the course of the season, I think you'll see guys who maybe on a scouting scale might not have had average breaking pitches, you're going to see him get to average or maybe even above average on the skating scale on some of their breaking pitches.
Along those same lines, the changeup, is that does it take a while to get a young hard thrower to understand that the changeup can be that big of a pitch?
Changeup is such a field pitch because in most cases you're using a grip on the ball that is a little bit unorthodox, and every grip that each pitcher has for his change is something a little bit different. And to take velocity off the ball, you can't hold it traditionally like you would when you throw the ball hard with basically 2 fingers and your thumb underneath. So the varying grips take time to get used to feel comfortable. To take it out between the lines in a big league game where, careers are on the line and statistics are on the line. It doesn't happen overnight. I mean, you think about it, to have what we call a circle change or a palm ball or any sort of grip that, doesn't feel great initially. It takes time to bring it into a big league game. And the only way you do it is through repetitions. And that happens over seasons. It happens over off seasons. It happens over spring training. But again, we've seen the evolution now of guys who are getting there. Almonte, Freeland, John. I go down the list of the guys that I think that the use of their changeup and the quality of it is really big league standard. I love that about our group.
And on the radio, they were talking about with Dom that even though he didn't play last year because of the no minor leagues, that he felt like he might have learned more because he was able to come over to you guys and warm up pitchers and be in the bullpen. Does that make sense?
It makes sense for sure. Like I said, Dom's been in major league camp in Scottsdale and Arizona, all the years that I've been here. And he's gone from A-ball through AAA. And now here he is in the big league. The progression has been, step by step with great, with great experience through the minors. And here's a guy with a good baseball mind. I mean, Dom has great instincts for the game. He's got feel. He's got a nice way about him with the pitchers. There's a confidence that he exudes to our guys. He studies, which, if you're a pitcher and your catcher is a student and is watching video and is looking at scouting reports and looking at statistics, that's what you need from behind the plate. I mean, he does it the right way, and there's a great deal of respect being built now between the pitchers and Dom. And it's really, for me, it's fun to see a young catcher, take over. That type of leadership role. The same with Elias, who's now here for our second year. A lot of the same qualities he's doing. So it's going to be a good tandem, Trace. It's going to be a good tandem, those catchers.
I'll just leave you the one word of advice from Jeff Scott, mutual friend. Don't mess with the screwball.
I'm with you. I'll get you in trouble.